This is Green Apple. We are continuing our track by track listen through to the album Attitude, and we are now on Propose, which is already track 6. We're getting through this quite quickly. Considering I'm releasing these videos every 3 days, I'm quite surprised how quickly we're getting through them. Sorry, that was the sound of me upping my volume. I know you heard that as well. Anyway, so Propose. It's another one that has a video. Now, I was told, and I can see here it's an official lyric video, and I was told it's not a proper music video for this one. So I was saying, oh, yeah, it's another one of the singles, quote unquote. I refer to any song that has its own music video, I refer to as a single, because in my opinion, these days, you know, so much physical singles, you get them sometimes, but if a record company and a band wants to put the money into actually producing a music video, that to me suggests that it's a single. But this one is a lyric video, so okay, I'm going to take this as being an album track then. Clearly they wanted to put the effort into giving it a lyric video though, which they didn't for Viking, which was awesome. So I'm intrigued. I don't know what to expect. Like I say, I've been enjoying this album. This one is 3 minutes, 19 seconds. It's a fairly brief song. I've been also, I think, more than anything, looking forward to these non-single tracks. Because as much as the singles are great, when you've got a good idea for what the band's like, which I'm starting to get, sorry, there's something in my eye, you start to get to the point there where it's like, okay, I want to hear the album tracks. I want to hear what you do when it's something which is only on the album, something where only the fans are going to hear it. Where do you go? What's the experimentation? Or maybe just the songs which they decided not to make singles. What happens on those moments where you're creative and you're enjoying it enough to put it out, but you're not going to put it as your big marketing single? So, yeah, Attitude, it's been a great album so far. Let's see what Propose gives us. Let's go. Nice. Very gated, sharp piano sound. Okay. Very engaging kind of way to begin the song. Contrast between those sharp sounds in the instrumentation with that chilled vocal over the Interesting. It's very minimalist so far. I'm wondering if it's going to stay this way. Either way, I'm interested. That's a good sign. It's almost trance-like, the state this juxtaposition of sounds gets you into. It's so simple, but it really works. That was interesting. Appeared with no ceremony. Loving how all those sort of like sound. I love how all those instrumental bits are kind of like running through the scale. Everything's in the same scale, and yet it feels like they're all playing at different times. Like another key change. I gotta be honest, as an album track, that really hit the nail on the head. I think it was very obviously a Mrs. Green Apple song. It had a few of those little things that are so quintessentially Mrs. Green Apple, and yet it had what I really want from an album track, which is it did something that you would never expect in a single. That you wouldn't release this song as a single. Well, I mean, you might do if you want to be risky, but I mean, unlikely you would. I can see maybe why they gave it a lyric video because they're proud of it. They want to put it forwards, and you should be proud of it. But it's not like a full-on single kind of song because this is doing something kind of playful. Now, what I like about this most of all is that, as someone again, in case you haven't, I'm assuming you've been watching the track by track, but in case you haven't, and if you don't know me very well, for me, the number one most important thing in music is songwriting. Songwriting is so important. But songwriting can get a little bit sometimes mixed with production. And production is, primarily about choosing sounds. Production is about choosing the sounds, the effects, and, a lot about crafting pieces of audio into a final recording. Picking the tones and things that work. This is one of those ones, though, where as someone who's worked a lot with songwriting, you get these moments where you become kind of inspired to just play. And I don't mean like play an instrument, just like play with sounds. Work as a producer just with sound files and just put something together. Maybe get something you recorded and just tear it up and do weird things with it. So when this starts off, it starts with what's called a very gated sound. Kind of a bit of a chopper, which is where like a sound comes in and you hear the impact, but it doesn't. The minute it starts to fade out, when it goes beyond a certain volume threshold, it just goes straight to zero. So sounds, you only hear them like you hear the impact and they go, burp, burp. Kind of that's happening with the piano. It's very sharp. Just get like the initial note and it's gone. So you get a little bit of that coming in straight away, and then the beat is a very sort of sharp electronic beat. No sort of resonant sound. It's all very sharp, very immediate. So you're getting a lot of little spaces, a lot of little silences between each of the sounds, which is nice. It kind of gives everything this weirdly spaced out feeling. There's room between things. The arrangement doesn't sound full, but it also means when you have spaces between sounds, that's where you get the ability to make something which is a bit funky. It's in the spaces that funky rhythms are built, after all. And if you think about a beat where it's just all the time, like a metal beat where it's just double kick drum, that's like the opposite of funky. Intense it may be, but funky it is not. It is those spaces between things that creates that kind of skipping rhythm. And this is why immediately it feels very funky. But he comes in singing kind of relaxed and he just sings in a very normal way and his voice is very normal. And that juxtaposition between this kind of engaging, sharp, unnatural backing, very electronic and affected kind of backing, with his very relaxed vocals creates this kind of strange but extremely engaging, extremely trance-like feeling, which brings you in straight from the get-go. But then when everything builds up after the halfway line and we get that kind of final bit where all the other sounds, you get the electric piano come in and all these sort of chopping sounds, now we're getting much more, it feels like we're taking like little clips from beats and little clips from full recordings and just chopping them. So now instead of just having one instrument stopping and starting, it feels like you're getting like whole bits of song come in and then stop, in and then stop. And this feels like something that anyone who's played around with just audio files, just experimenting just to sort of get the creative juices going, you'll know this feeling where you like occasionally get a piece of audio and you're just sort of like, you see it and everything's on time. The audio's like, so you'll just move it to a different beat, just move it to the wrong place, or you just chop a bit off it. And you get the feeling of just, I'm going to do something which is completely wrong to this piece of audio, just put it in there and listen to it. And then you create something weird and you go, yeah, I like that. It's those little bits of chaos, those bits where you free yourself up from the rules a bit, where you can sometimes create interesting things. And that's what I like about this, because this feels to me like the sort of song that would be produced by someone who is not so much thinking, I want to do this is not one of those songs where it gets written because from the get-go you start writing and go, oh, I want it to sound like this. This is one of those songs where you maybe start with a demo, you write the melody, you maybe play it on an acoustic or just play it on a normal piano, And then you're looking at the demo recordings, working out, oh, how am I going to build this? One of those ones where you maybe record the vocals first, record like a bit of piano, and you think, okay, what am I going to do next? And then you just sit in there one evening and you just start playing around with the sounds and pulling little bits out or moving a couple of sliders on like the gating effects and things like that. And you just start going, yeah, this is interesting. This song could go in this direction. What else are we going to do? And you start like getting other sounds. You start messing around. It feels like that. It feels like the creation of someone playing around with sound. Not playing an instrument, playing around with sound. And I really like that. I mean, it's even indicated in the fact this has 2 key changes. It goes up at the end and it goes up again at the end. It feels like a song that's very kind of... It's not doing anything wild that we've never heard before. And I often come back to this. You can be playful and you can be experimental. You can be a bit weird without having to completely reinvent the wheel. But it just feels like a song that is very much freed from the constraints of what would maybe be more what you'd expect from a Mrs. Green Apple song. As varied as they are, they're usually very well structured, very much built as full sounding songs. This feels like something, just again, this feels like a little bit of fun, a bit of experimentation. And this is the kind of thing I want to hear as much of as possible, because we know Mrs. Green Apple can churn out the hits till the cows come home, and I'm fine with that. But this to me is what makes you a creative band. This is what gives you that extra little bit where you listen to it and you go, oh yeah, I don't know how this necessarily feels to general audiences, but almost like a professional respect. I say that as someone they've sold like millions of records and I haven't. A few hundred. So like but yeah, professional respect as someone who works with songwriting, listening to songwriters, I listen to this and I go, yeah, I get that. I feel that. I feel the artistic integrity in this. So yeah, by the way, one of the reasons I was looking at the credit, I was looking to see if a producer or anything was labeled on here, because it'd be interesting to know if there was like because I feel like there wasn't a producer on this. I feel like this was produced by the band. The band wrote it and produced it. It's what it feels like to me. I might be wrong. It might be one of those ones where it was collaboratively songwriter and producer sitting in the studio one night. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they pre-planned it all to be like this from the get-go, but I don't think so. This just feels musical play, and I like that. I like that a lot. There you go. So those are my thoughts. As always, get in the comments. Tell me what you think, and until I hopefully speak to you very soon in Japan, see you in the comments wherever you may be. Remember, we've got a Discord. Discord's great. We've got a really great Discord community. But wherever it may be, links are all down below. And until then, for now, ciao, ciao.